And we're live. Hey, episode 54, This Life in Tech. I'm Jason.
And I'm Dan. And as promised, I am destroying Vader.
Yeah, look at that. And I got the nice sunny background because, dude, it's been cold here, man. It's finally sunny today, but we went to Disney this morning and it was still only like 55 degrees. There was nobody there.
55. Only 55.
Oh, and finally, no wind. But man, dude, the East Coast got brutalized this week with wind.
Yeah, they did. The East Coast in general is just getting hammered.
Yeah.
I'm not really all that complaining. I'm actually watching our stuff right now so I can properly share this stuff out. It's a little bit
I can hear us in your fucking video.
I know. It's pretty funny. So anyway, the weather, here in Indiana has been crazy too. I mean, we had, I want to say it was something like 110 inches of rain, to the point where anyone that has like close to a river, their homes were completely flooded. It is bad. If it had been snow, there would still be snow on the ground, even though it's like 50 degrees outside right now. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But hey, all that rain got rid of all the 18 inches of snow that we had on the ground, so I'm perfectly fine.
Right. We haven't gotten really any. It rained a little bit this week, but not very much. I mean, it was dry enough for me to go cycling the next day.
Yeah.
So, man, I said we should do an open Q&A and see what we could get. And sure enough, man, at least one person, let me refresh my Twitter now, tweeted me a question. Oh, that's just you replying to me. Yeah. My man, Jesus, is asking, he's directing it to me, but I'll ask you too, because I know you're into some of this stuff and there's some interesting parallels. Do you have a favorite esport?
Actually, I don't really follow a lot of the esports. I mean, back in the day, a little bit, and I say back in the day, maybe several years ago, because, I used to compete in Madden. So I would do the actual sports, local things, tournaments, things of that nature. And it's so funny, especially back when I don't remember how many years ago this was. Maybe it had to be at least 5 years ago, because what everyone would do would just drop back as a quarterback and throw a bomb. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna, if I get the ball first, if I won the toss, I will win every single time, because I will just drill out the time running. And you're gonna throw interceptions going back, or you mess up, things like that. But yeah, not so much esports. I mean, I pay attention to Mika, for example, with what she does with some of the capture the flag stuff that she's been doing recently. Just because she's a protege, she worked with us. I've got a vested interest in her doing some things of that nature. But yeah, the esports is just not something. I mean, because a lot of them are just like first person shooter games, and I'm not into first person shooter.
Yeah, well, I do. I follow esports. I will say this, and maybe we'll come back to this because I don't see any other questions. So fuck it, we might as well have something to talk about. Not that we're either ever short of things to say about anything.
No,
I still watch League of Legends. I watch mostly the NA LCS league. Sometimes I'll watch EU. I really don't watch anything else. I don't watch it nearly as much as I used to. I don't play the game at all anymore. But I find it interesting from a mechanics view. So, League of Legends interests me. I watch a little bit of World of Warcraft. So like this weekend, there was a big European tournament for Arena, which is their PvP, this was a 3-on-3, which is usually the format. I watched that a little bit. Not that I've really ever particularly liked PvP in World of Warcraft. I've done it. I did back in Wrath of the Lich King with a partner, went up pretty high ranked in 2s, which really doesn't even exist anymore. And I'll watch a fair bit from time to time, depending on what's going on, of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Either a pro tournament that's being filmed, or for whatever reason, I don't like watching Magic Online, the online component of it too much, but I will. Interesting side note on that. Ben got interested in Magic not too long ago, and this Friday I took him to his first Friday night tournament at a game store.
Okay.
Yeah, and the dude went
tabletop.
Yeah, tabletop. Yeah, paper. Man, he did really well, really well. And this is no joke, man. There's like 40 people there, really high end, like top 10 world tour players.
Right.
And man, he went 2-0, 1-2. Wait, no, 2-0, 2-1, 0-2, 1-2, and then 2-1. So he ended up a little negative, but for his first time ever playing, somebody other than me, really,
right.
But now he's like, oh, dude, it's like crack. I remember how it was when I first started playing in the late 90s. He's like, oh, dude, can I go get this card? I'm like, you gonna take my trash out? How about that? Why don't we start there? But yeah, man, it's fun watching people get in the games. I love games. And what I was gonna say was, that's why I think it's to this day criminal that the community itself won't support what's necessary, in my direct experience, to transition cyber competitions into an esport. People are so resistant to it, man. And I don't part of me understands why, but a big part of me doesn't.
I don't understand why. I mean, mainly because, there's talent that's involved. It's still something that's there. And here's probably the best reason people are interested in it. Why do we pay all the money that we wind up paying to watch NFL or UFC? Because there's interest. Mm-hmm. Everyone that says, oh, these football players aren't worth X amount of money. Yeah, they are. Because we pay for it.
Yeah, the market says they are. There's no, how can you argue with that?
Yeah. If the market is there, then that's what they're worth. I mean, I tell people all the time, you know how much money you're worth? How much someone's willing to pay you.
That's right. You may not like it. You may not agree with it on the outside. You know what I mean? But that's the result of a free market, and that should be desirable.
Right. And, and I'll remind me I'm going to make a slight tangent to that free market thing. Just because we talked, the last time, even though it was like 2 weeks ago now, Second Amendment. I have zero issues with what Dick's Sporting Goods is doing about saying, hey, they're not going to sell. You know what? Free market. I can support an organization like Dick's Sporting Goods, even though I don't buy anything from them anymore because I buy all my stuff from Amazon. I mean, that's
right.
Everything's about free market, and Dick's took a stand. This is why I continue to say, hey, people want to smoke. I don't care. I have an establishment that's smoking. If I don't want to spend my money there, guess what the establisher is going to do?
Well, and it's an interesting point because I saw some buzz on the Twitter sphere on how Dick's, some people were analogizing the Dick's thing with, funny enough, no pun intended with this one, right? Remember it was last year, the year before, where the bakery in the Midwest or whatever didn't want to sell or make a cake for a gay wedding.
Right.
And that turned into like a big government issue. Listen, man, the last thing we want is government legislating behavior. That's a private business. They can do it whatever they want. And if you don't like it, don't give them your money and they'll go away. I mean, it's that simple.
Yep.
It's that simple. And go ahead.
I 100% agree. Same thing with esports, right? My son's into it. He watches it, especially League of Legends. And I'm like, cool. It doesn't interest me. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just like, hey, I love playing golf. I'm not watching golf on TV either.
Yeah, right.
I love to play video games. I'm not into watching someone else play them.
No, man, I got to be in the right place for it. Man, this is really bad to say live, but fuck it. Like if I'm grading papers. Well, because here's the thing, man. I like listening to music when I write or when I read, but when I'm grading papers, it's almost like an inverted distraction to have music on, because what I really want to do is focus on being creative, probably because that's what I've primed myself for when there's music playing, right?
Yeah.
So like when I'm reading somebody else's work to critique it, whether I'm like reviewing for a journal or I'm reviewing a dissertation or whatever. I don't like music on. I like a movie or a TV show. Or actually, what's great is my favorite streaming platform. This is another part of Jesus's question is Twitch. There's a lot of variety. There's always stuff on, man. You can just watch whatever you want, whatever. So, a lot of times I'll put Twitch on, and there's occasions where I'll look for specific things. Like one of my favorite streamers, I don't know if this will shock people or not, is Dr. Disrespect. A huge part of that. Now, wait, a huge part of that is because I know people that know him personally because he went to Cal Poly Pomona where I taught for a couple of years. I wasn't there when he was there. He was there much earlier. You remember my student Twee? You met her, right?
Yeah.
She worked for him at Boom TV.
Nice.
So like I feel like this indirect connection. So not only that, but I think that's the future of it. It's taking broadcasting, like serious broadcasting, and putting it onto a streaming platform where the game doesn't even matter anymore. We're watching the character. So I really dig that guy.
It's no different than why I like watching Conor McGregor.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Actually, it's exactly the same thing.
I could care less if that guy loses. He's entertaining.
Yeah. I totally agree, man. It's just entertaining. But anyway, the thing I was going to say, what I like about streams is that you don't really have to pay attention to it because the streamers, whoever it is, usually, especially if they're good and entertaining, like Dr. Disrespect, knows how to command your attention when there's something to pay attention to through their animation, through their vocals, whatever. Right. So for me, that's really nice when I don't need I need focus, but in very short durations, like grading. Right. I need to focus on grading this problem. And then it's actually nice to have a little bit of a break before I go to the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's funny going about the character of Conor McGregor. Did you see his tweet to Frankie Edgar right after he lost?
Yeah.
He said, basically something along the lines of, and I'll paraphrase, you're a great fighter. You deserve to lose against me, not against this chump.
Yeah. Well, you saw the news where I still don't understand quite. I understand the controversy, but I don't understand what's going on with the belt situation where they're clearly not stripping him. And one of the dudes that's going to fight next has the interim belt, as I understand it. And so they're not stripping Conor to give the guy the belt so that when these two dudes fight, it's actually a fight for a belt. But if the dude with the interim belt wins, they're going to give him Conor's belt, but they're not stripping Conor. Like, I don't get it.
Because there would be too much backlash. Conor's like, hey, he offered to fight Frankie Edgar.
Yeah. They
said no. Maybe Conor wants too much money for the fight. I don't know. But how can you say it's too much money? The dude brings it when he is there. I mean, what does he have? Like the top 5 pay-per-view buys now?
Something, dude. I think in 2017 or 2016, 2017, the top 4 he had 3 of, or something like that. I mean, you might as well just call it 100% because the other ones aren't even fucking close anyway.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Right now, there's not a person on the UFC roster that says I'm going to go drop $50-$60 for.
No.
I just
What are you going to watch Cyborg? I mean,
she's a great fighter. Cyborg is a great fighter. And she's very humble. She's respectful. No charisma.
No charisma, no persona, and she's fighting in a division where there's not even fighters, so they pull these cans in. Like, listen, man, you hear this notion of somebody being what's called a can crusher. So for those that don't know, that's somebody that doesn't really have an enormous amount of skill. They just look like they do because they're fed bums to beat up. Those are cans. Growing up, we called them bums. Anyway, so they're tossing her these cans to crush. I mean, that poor girl last night got hit once. You saw the look on her face. I didn't watch the fight. I saw a clip of it on Reddit. And you could see the look of horror in her face, like, oh my God, just get me out of here.
Yeah. Well, Holly Holm's not a bum.
No.
But at that weight class,
yeah.
She can't. If Amanda Nunes goes up to that weight class, she'll lose.
I think so.
Can't come down. Cyborg can't. She's just not able to, for whatever reason. We could say it's steroids, whatever. She's not able to get down to that weight class. And if she could, it probably wouldn't matter. She's just so much bigger than those other girls.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, let's be honest. Yeah, yes, it is the steroids.
I think so. I mean, and here's the thing. I honestly don't care.
Oh, I
don't care. I don't care that John Jones popped hot for steroids. I don't care that any of them do.
I don't care if the guy bumps a couple of lines before he walks in. Dude, just go in there and fight. I mean,
there's a reason why you're a prize fighter. You want to do whatever you want. I honestly just don't care.
That's what bugs me about modern sports, man. It's like like the UFC or fighting in general, and I'll lump boxing with this too. Okay, and I mean this for all sports, but fighting is a great example of exactly what I mean. Insofar as we want that blood sport, you know what I mean? We want to watch that violence, but oh wait, we got to dress it up in this classy veneer, and you can't do certain things that makes you more violent. Like the dude's already getting punched in the face or choked out or his leg broken. I mean, why do you draw that arbitrary line that you can't like break his leg too fast?
Here's the thing. Right. All about that. Because I mean, when you're like Frank Mir, who is a true legit, he gets a hold of any limb, it's being broken. It doesn't matter.
Well, you remember when he gave Nogueira that spiral fracture to his humerus, man? That's a serious bone break.
Yeah. Any of those things. I don't care about what sport it is. They all have equal access if they so choose to. You don't want to do it? Don't do it. I chose not to. I certainly could have done it if I wanted to when I was playing ball. I chose not to. I didn't want to. It wasn't worth the risk to me. If you want to go do it, have at it. Don't care.
Well, like cycling. Cycling is the other great example for me because that's one of the more non-esport sports that I do watch.
Right.
And of course, the big controversy right now is another mainstream guy got an adverse finding for an asthma medication. Okay. And it's this big thing, and there's always this argument, particularly since Lance Armstrong, who, by the way, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think he's a phenomenal human being. I don't think he always behaved as a phenomenal human being, but as far as a cyclist, what he's capable of is extraordinary amongst extraordinary people, right?
Right.
But particularly because of Lance Armstrong, there's always this very big divide in the community of cyclists of, oh, the sport's clean or the sport's not. And anytime anybody does well, immediately they're doping. Well, first of all, they probably are. More than likely. I mean, history shows us that. So that's a reasonable inference that more than likely they are. Who cares? I want to watch this guy go 100 miles an hour up a mountain in France. I don't care how much dope he takes to do it. I think that's exciting. Why do you want them to not be extraordinary? They're adults. And guess what? It's a market. They're being paid to do that. And if you don't like it, don't watch, and viewership will drop and the money will dry up and they won't be able to do it anymore.
Even more so, we take risks in everything that we do. Everything. So it doesn't matter. I mean, this is the part where I tweeted this out not too long ago, and I'll just bring it up here as well. Because all these people that are in the, we'll say, the community that start talking about, hey, you shouldn't have these kind of guns. Well, guess what? Vulnerability research can be weaponized. You think you can't take down an ICS, industrial control systems, with your exploitable vulnerability? It's a weapon.
Well, so and I think we're of the same opinion that bug bounty directly supports that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? It doesn't matter. The market will decide. I don't want any of these types of regulations for that. I mean, probably because I'm a libertarian. I have zero. I'm like, less government. I don't remember which senator it was that said like the UFC was like modern day cockfighting.
Oh, I think there was a dude from New York, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't care which one it was. Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah. We know the risks. We get into it. We know the risks. When I drive a car, I mean, I was telling a board member, they had asked me if I would drive a Tesla because it's hackable. Yes, absolutely. If I had an extra $100,000 laying around, I would go buy a Tesla. I have zero problems that it's potentially hackable. I will accept that risk because it's a cool piece of technology.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been doing that since our early basis of evolution, making these kinds of decisions of there's always danger present. Sometimes the payoff warrants accepting that and moving forward. And certainly with technology, I definitely am on that. I'm not on the fence about it. I'm definitely on the side of let's do this.
Let's do this. There are certain things like we seem to be making a lot more political statements at this point, even our technology. But I just have to say it anyway. You know, all these people are out there saying that the NRA is one of the biggest lobbying organizations in the United States. Bullshit. You are wrong. You have clearly not looked at the stats. If you think Big Pharma is not the largest, I don't even know what to say, because they not only create antidotes that create a dependency on the next drug they're going to have for you, and somehow it gets legalized. So
yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I'm not a big gun person. We talked about this like last week or whatever, right? 2 weeks ago. And but at the same time, I've never understood why the NRA is the poster child for people to blame when shit like this happens. What does the NRA have to do with it? I mean, they didn't sell that person a gun. They weren't involved in that transaction. The market was. They just support gun ownership.
You know, and all these people that think an AR-15 is like an M16, you're delusional.
No, they're not. They're completely different weapon systems, by the way.
They just look alike. That's it. Well, that's like the difference between gold and fool's gold.
Well, I'll even go a step further and say they only look alike in the sense that they're a rifle. Past that, if you pay attention and you know anything about them, they're not at all the same. Keep talking, man. I got to turn this light on. You can see it's getting dark. Hold on. Keep talking.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it's like all these different things that are out there where people are like, oh my gosh, this thing is a military grade. Here, I love this. I love this term because we deal with it in technology all the time. This is military grade encryption. No, it's not. No, it's not military grade. It's just encryption. It's encryption. It's a gun. They're both weapons. So, I really wish people would do a little bit more research. This is what the internet has truly brought us to.
Yeah.
You go and type in anything in Google and anything pops up and you think it's legit research. Thank you, Medium. Thank you, WordPress. I will keep bringing it up. Anything I read on Medium is really, that is my modern day dessert reading. And I say that because it's entertainment. There is nothing that you're going to find on Medium, in my opinion, at least that I've read, that's real research. It's entertainment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like Reader's Digest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, first of all, it's all fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, in my experience, Playboy has more factual reporting than anything. Anyway, bad. No. Yeah, I don't understand the argument at all. And again, well, what the fuck does the NRA have to do with any of it? I mean, sure, they lobby for guns, but they're not a gun manufacturer. Nope. They're not a gun reseller. They're not necessarily, as an organization, a consumer of guns. As an organization, the individual members may or may not be. I'm sure there's people that don't even own a gun that are NRA members because they support the Constitution. And that's the other thing. Look, if you don't like it, vote for somebody that will represent you in either amending the Constitution or modifying it outside of an amendment in some way, right? Through additional legislation or whatever, right?
I would say good luck.
Well, yeah.
There's a reason why it says, in that Second Amendment, this right shall not be infringed upon or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's so funny where people want to talk about, well, our founding fathers didn't believe the capabilities. Really? You think that these people like Ben Franklin couldn't foresee a potential capability where a weapon might be able to be of the type that we've got now? How do you know? Don't go and try and use that type of logic, or the other logic when they start going where down the lines, oh, we're too young, and so they bring up all of the people who are signing like the Declaration of Independence, and they're this age, this age, this age, and I'm like, specific to general. You just took some of the most noteworthy people in our history, and you think you're that good. Yeah. I don't think I'm that good. not when I was 20 years old. And you think that, these people out there, they think they're that good, that they would be looked at upon history as if they were John Adams or Thomas Jefferson.
How about Ben Franklin? I mean,
yeah. Well, he was a little bit old back then at that point, but yeah. I mean, I don't even think today, because I think Ben Franklin was like in his, was he in his 40s when he signed the Declaration? Let's see. I got to look that up, because I don't think I'm as good as Ben Franklin in terms of what I did for society.
Well, I think most of the signers were in their early to mid 20s, right?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them were 19.
Hold on, man. I'm still adjusting my levels here. This green screen got jacked. This is the problem with an evening podcast. All right. I think I can flush this out now. Hold on. Look it up, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. I'm doing it now. Have to. Got to do it. Ben Franklin, age at... I thought the whole point for having a green screen is that you wouldn't have to keep adjusting anything in the background.
It's my backlighting that I'm playing with.
Ah, okay. Dude was 70 when the Declaration of Independence was signed. 70. So, yeah. So that means I've got some time that I can still make an impact more so than what Ben Franklin did.
Yeah, well, it's just the mental gymnastics that people will jump through to not examine what the root cause actually is, which takes hard work. And in fact, you have to be open to the mindset that you may not figure it out. It may not be reducible. In fact, I mean, gun violence is a complicated thing. It's not as easy as saying, well, if we didn't have the NRA lobbying for guns, which I agree with you, the stats tell us, right? Yeah. That actually they don't lobby very much at all compared to other things, like you said, like pharma or auto manufacturers. Like, why don't we talk about that? And yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about this. There's more car-related deaths by far in this country than there are weapon-related deaths.
Hey, this is the whole point. So, like me growing up in Maryland and having worked a lot in the Maryland area, it seems like a week does not go by where someone doesn't try to ram their car through the barricade at Fort Meade. Fort Meade, for those that don't know, is the National Security Agency headquarters.
Right. So, and when
he shot himself in front of the White House on Friday night or something like that. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, look at the stuff in the recent past, and this is recent, with VW fucking around with the computer that detected when it was on the dyno for the smog detection.
Yeah,
dude, did you know that they tested that on monkeys and people?
Who did better on the test?
I don't know. They haven't released the results because I'd be interested in finding out. They actually, as an answer to being caught cheating, their answer was to old school style hook people up to the exhaust and see what the effects were, as if they were going to find something that already hasn't been demonstrated with smog. So anyway, just the emissions of gasoline engines, we know, kills people a lot more than guns.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody bitching about that. Well, because to me, it's the same thing of, like, I spoke to a group of students one time at Cal Poly about autonomous vehicles, and a lot of people didn't want them. This surprised me, man. A lot of people, we're talking about 20 somethings, didn't want them because they didn't want to give up control.
Something to be said about that.
If you're a savage.
Well, I mean, I want the ability to take back control in the event that, because, I mean, hey, it's still software. and so it can have a bug, it can misinterpret anything, and I still want to be able to, if I'm aware, take back an override.
Um, sure, I get it. Here's what I don't like about setting the goalpost there, though, is that if I'm developing a system like that, and my goalpost is just do enough where most of the time the human doesn't have to intervene, I don't think that's good enough, to be honest with you. I think
100% agreed. 100% agreed. You shouldn't be developing a system that requires intervention, but something that can override it in the event. I go right back to what's the movie? Judge Dredd. Hey, I want to take control. Fine, I'm gonna drive. Or maybe it was Demolition Man, because that was the one with Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was Demolition Man.
So I can go back and I can take control if I so choose to. But you shouldn't be developing a system where you're ready for me to fail. You should just be that, hey, if someone else wants to take over, this is what you have to do.
All right, so now we're transitioning topics, because this is an interesting line of inquiry. So if you override, and let's just say right out of the garage, you're in control and you're driving, are you okay if the system detects that you're fucking up and it just automatically takes over?
Yeah, I don't know if I want that. Well, I mean, there's conditions. Like I have like zero issues as well. If my vehicle, hey, we're adults, we're gonna drink, we're gonna go out to eat, and we may have a couple of cocktails, beers, scotches, whatever. I would have zero issues if the car said, your blood alcohol content is too high, I'm driving you home. Okay, safety sure. First, right? If it detected too many reckless habits, sure, because the whole idea is of being safe. But I don't know, because I mean, I do drive really fast.
Well, my point is that we know humans are fallible, and I don't know how we're going to get away from that until we're augmented, right? And that's just part of being human. We're not a perfectly engineered system by any stretch of the imagination. We're pretty good at certain things, and some people are better than others at certain things, but we're fallible. I don't know, man. I don't know that I'm okay with people being able to override and take control. I don't think I want them to. I think I want
I wonder if the system was at a point where we knew that the accident rate was significantly, and more like statistically significant, then I wouldn't care. We may not see that in our lifetime.
I don't know.
Yeah. But if it got to that point, yeah, maybe.
So can we then agree, just to clarify for everybody and for ourselves, if we could assume that through autonomous vehicles, the accident rate became zero or near enough zero that it might as well be zero, we'd be fine never being able to take control of the vehicle again.
I would agree, especially, I mean, I wouldn't mind having a vehicle where, I mean, I enjoy driving. I enjoy riding my bike and stuff like that, right? If I'm in traffic, I don't want to do anything. Perfect.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because I think we have to go back to where we started. Let the market decide. Because what I was thinking about was, okay, so if we start producing all these autonomous vehicles and we don't allow humans to ever take control in any situation, then at some point you're going to run out of what we'll say are classical vehicles where the human can control it. And then what? Then you can't go for a joyride on your new Indian because it won't exist.
Right.
Well, let the market decide.
Right. Again, yeah, that's certainly true. Because a truly autonomous vehicle would detect that yours is not and then act accordingly.
It should, yeah. And we can assume to some degree they probably already can through the little jitters and the way people drive. I'm sure it can. I'm sure. You know, I'd be really, if I ever sat down with Elon Musk or somebody that was high up that had access to all the data, I'd be interested in what key performance indicators they track in the drivers. Like how often they use certain features, when are things enabled, when are things are disabled, what do the sensors detect, and how, you know what I mean? That's what I'd be interested in finding out.
It would be. You know, sometimes I wonder, is Elon Musk a fraud?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it?
Not in the sense that he's not a good businessman. There's no question about that. But I don't believe he's as scientific as what he portrays himself to be.
Well, and I wonder how much of that is the media too, with constantly comparing him to Tony Stark. Which he's not. I mean, he's wealthy. I don't think he's as wealthy as Tony Stark was in the comic books, but I was never a big Iron Man person.
Well, neither am I, because he's in the bottom 5 of the worst superheroes of all time. He just is. I think he's a horrible superhero. I did just recently rent, you know, Justice League. Aquaman might get out of the bottom 5. He might be number 6 now. You know, the recent way they've done it, it's kind of badass. I kind of dig him, but not so much to move him out of the worst 10.
Well, I said this a couple years ago when we had the whole Batman versus Superman versus Marvel Civil War thing. In my mind, Iron Man's always been a low rent version of Batman.
Oh yeah,
and like extremely low rent.
Yeah. I do not like Iron Man in any way, shape, or form. I've never liked Iron Man. Batman to me is just by far, you know, when you start talking superheroes from a comic book standpoint, Batman's badass.
Well, and I think that's where Marvel
he knows it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where Marvel, in my opinion, kind of fucked up when they, in the creation of the Punisher, they let it get too out of hand too fast, too early, with the amount of violence that the Punisher dealt out. Because if they had toned it back early enough, that's the answer for Marvel to DC's Batman. Because it's a much more one-for-one analog. They have no superpowers except their will to punish crime. Bruce Wayne certainly has more money behind him, but the Punisher also had war experience, and he was grittier. And both of them are far superior, in my opinion, to Iron Man.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, and I've never been a fan of Superman. Superman's an alien, so not a superhero.
Well, who are you fooling? Let's talk about this for a second, if you don't mind. Yeah. Who the fuck are you fooling dressing up like Clark Kent? I never understood that, even as a little kid. You ain't fooling me, and I'm a dummy.
I look you in your eye when you're talking.
Yeah. I mean, but why? I mean, you're Superman. Why you got to pretend to be Clark Kent? I never understood that gag. Like, okay, whatever. Anyway, man, that's my little rant, because I've never liked Superman. I've never liked him one bit.
Because I talk about this quite a bit. There are a lot of people in this world that play down to their competition rather than make them rise to you.
Right. They're not leaders.
If I was Superman, get on my level. Right. Actually, I say that now. I'm constantly, get on my level. We're like, well, you know, I mean, I had a 360 review. This is hilarious. And people were like, I really wish I would stop making everything a teaching moment. Hey, I would really wish to not have to make everything a teaching moment. I mean, you know, not everyone wants to work weekends. I don't want to work weekends either. I wouldn't have to if you all would just do your job. You know, this is what's funny. This is the same type of review I've had almost everywhere I have been. I don't want to work weekends. I don't want to make things a teaching moment. I just want you to do your job at a level on which is the absolute best at what I could do.
You know what's kind of funny, man? I'm sitting here thinking about this while I'm listening to you. I don't think in my entire life I've ever had a job performance review. Not once. Ever.
Well, I'll give you one.
Hey, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because you did work for me. And again, it was. I mean, here's the thing: you don't have to.
Yeah, right.
The whole reason why we do that. I mean, if you don't know that you suck when I give you your review, or that you're good at that particular time, then I didn't do my job as a leader, because you should be getting constant feedback all the time. And I think I do this. I mean, there's people that are good. There's people that are bad. There's certainly people that do not live up to the expectations of which I believe you should be at. And that's primarily the reason why I don't like Superman, because he's constantly so self-deprecating that he has to put himself in the form of Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and that's what I always wondered about the readers, because I had some friends growing up that were really into Superman. And I'm like, it's kind of backwards. So he's pretending to be like us so that he can fit in when he's really, truly superhuman. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, in the strictest definition of the word, he's literally superhuman, hence Superman. So what does that say about us, that he has to pretend to be like us, which, like you said, is a step down? And why do you like that? That's the exact opposite of what we should be striving for.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I like Batman. He's like, I just have one question. Do you bleed?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it came from, the second worst actor in Hollywood in Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but it didn't count because he had a mask on.
That's true. I wouldn't know it was Ben Affleck with the Batman mask. It's not like a pair of glasses. I still know that's you right now. I can see you. Yeah. You're still the ninja Jason Pittman.
Oh man, dude! When I turned 41, I can't wear contacts anymore. They just don't work. It's fucked up. Like I only it doesn't fit the curvature of my eye anymore. I can't wear. The only time I wear them is when I cycle outside, so I can wear my sunglasses. That's it.
I'm getting to a point where I'm about ready. So put on my contacts to go test ride the Indian, and I'm like, I really don't want to wear these. I am about ready. I'm going to go take my riding glasses and take them and get them fitted for riding, because my helmet, which is just going to wind up, it's going to have a heads-up display, all this kind of stuff. I'm going completely geeked out on this thing, but still, my sunglasses go down. So I don't need, I just need the glasses to come across, and then I'll flip down the sunglasses from the helmet.
For cycling, you obviously can get like Oakley prescription lenses. I don't want that, because my sunglasses, I have inserts I can change for different weather conditions. So like I have the iridium lenses for high glare. I have the smoke lenses, you know what I mean? And so I change those frequently. I even have clear ones. So like when I used to ride on a velodrome track, I wear the clear insert so that you don't get the wind in your eyes, but you can still see. So I don't want to give that up. So for the type of glasses I have, they actually make an insert that goes behind the changeable lens, and it sits there. Kind of like, I don't know if your dad ever had them. My dad did the flip ups.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like that. And I'm pretty close to just getting them, man. Here's the thing, like the glasses I have on right now, massively changing topics. Fuck optometrists. Because first of all, it's so technologically advanced that it's almost completely automated now. Like if you go to a Lens Crafters, I mean, that dude's just checking what the computer told him. And frankly, I think the computer was better than you, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So spit me out my prescription. And by the way, the systems now can do it for both lenses and contacts. And these I ordered online, man, and it was a fraction of the price. Fraction of the price. And this is this is one of the best pairs of glasses I've ever had in my life. And I've been wearing glasses off and on since I was like 10.
Yeah. So, I mean, from here on out, I buy my actual frames online.
Mm-hmm.
I take them over to Costco, $15 plus the lens cost, which I just give them a prescription. Yep. And guess what? It winds up coming out to be like $100 for 2 pairs.
Yeah. Yeah. I paid $100 for these. And I had them like in a week, man. Lenses and frames all together. And mine are a little different because of my only problem is really having astigmatism, so I need prism in the lens, and that
Yep.
costs a little extra. And
Same.
then I always pay for transitions.
Yep, I have transitionals. I mean, all our stuff's identical.
Yeah. It was $100. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? You can't even buy the frames alone for that at LensCrafter.
Yeah, what frames do you have?
Fucked if I know.
So mine are typically Ray-Ban. These ones are Austin Reed.
Brand whore.
I am. I admit it. I definitely, for the most part, yeah, I am. Got no problem with that.
I have simple requirements, man. They have to be black. Sometimes I'll go tortoiseshell. I like square and I like small. And
Yep.
the way they fit has to be very specific because, like, when I game and I wear the enclosed headphones, it pinches, man, and it'll give you a fucking headache.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I go shooting, I want the plugs. I do
Yes.
not like over top.
The muffs, yeah.
I don't like it. And I mean that's just and I mean I cannot say enough about Walker. I mean, the brand that I use, because of not just the noise cancellation, but I can, have a conversation with those things in there. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're absolutely amazing.
Interestingly enough, man, I use buds like that when I cycle outside.
Yeah.
Because they've actually done some studies now that the wind noise causes hearing loss, and I already have some, and I don't really want more.
Absolutely, Ken.
Yeah.
Same thing with riding my motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you don't have something inside there that does that, yeah, some of the motorcycle helmets are getting a lot better with canceling out the noise.
Yeah.
But it's still not great.
No. And I found I actually like these
50 on a bike for a couple hours. I mean,
yeah. Well, these are actually the Apple ones that came with my 6S Plus, and I actually really like the way they fit.
Now who's the brand whore?
Hey man, I'm just calling it. I have to differentiate because different phones come with different headphones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll wear these sometimes, but I don't listen to anything. So and it's just to close out the wind noise, but I can still hear traffic and stuff.
No, I'm with you. It sucks getting old. I can't wait till Google comes out with like the cybernetic eye, and then I can just think it, and I can have the Google search right there. Perfect.
Yeah, man.
All for it. I don't mind being a cyborg.
Dude, I'll be first in line, elbow bitches out of the way. Get out of here, of course. Speaking of that, man, in case anybody's interested, speaking of like thought to action over a brain machine interface, I will be in Maryland starting Thursday for 2 weeks. On Saturdays, we are hosting a series of workshops on brain machine interfaces. And then I will be back in Maryland in April. And I don't remember the dates, but I'll be there for 2 weekends. But I think I'm only staying a week this time.
April 20th is residency.
I'll be there for that. So I think it's the weekend.
Did they make that for you?
Oh, dude, no, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Don't get me started on scheduling and calendaring with it.
I just went because April 20th, 420,
I don't know, man. I don't know anything about that.
It's all legal in California.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So if anybody's in town, text me, tweet me, DM me, whatever, hit me up. I'll be around. I'll be there a long time this time, man. 2 weeks straight. And then Helen's actually coming back with me because we're going to a conference in San Diego.
Where you live?
Yeah.
Inside joke for those who don't know. For the longest time, I used to think Jason lived in San Diego. And I'm like, whatever. It's all Southern California to me. It's like 2 hours difference.
Yeah, it's 2 hours south of me.
Yeah.
I'm actually closer to the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah. So,
well, I guess you could say the county because the county's longer, but whatever, man. I'm so tired of this place. I can't wait to move.
Not too long, man. Less than 6 months.
Dude. So on Thursday I leave for 2 weeks. I come back. We'll be here where I actually live in Orange County for a day, and then I go to San Diego that night for the better part of the week, and then I'm here until the 14th of April, something like that. And then I'll be back in Maryland for a week and a half. I come back, and then I'll be back there for graduation. And after that, I'm never coming back to California. Oh, I shouldn't say never. I'm not coming back here to live.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you on that. I don't know if I'll be there for graduation or not yet. I don't know.
Well, you're not going to come clap for me to get that 5th award? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Maybe, but it really comes down to whether or not one of my students actually graduates or not. It'll be close. It will be close.
Well, I mean, they've done oral defenses the morning of. That's not exactly uncommon.
Yeah, I think the last time they did that, person went to jail.
That did happen before. Yeah, and he was in our cohort, if you remember correctly.
He was supposed to graduate the same day I was.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, I've never followed up on it because I really don't give a shit anyway. But
Still in jail.
I don't think he went to jail. I think he went to like Fed prison.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that's what happens when you do murder for hire.
Yes. 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 And do you remember when he came up that one time and insulted me to my face?
Not really.
Yeah, you were standing there and I remember you laughing. I don't remember what I said back to the dude, but
I do remember like him coming up and he said something. I just started laughing and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Because it was really insulting. And then the next thing out of his mouth was, "Can you help me?"
Yeah.
No. I mean, well, yes, I can, but I'm choosing
but I'm not going to. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, at this point, I'm probably gonna trip you.
But it was
not that I would ever do that in case there's any students watching. I would just not deal with you because I really don't care.
Yeah. But they let him walk the stage.
Yeah, I know. That was the big controversy because, you know, back in the back end, I don't know if you got exposed to this through some of our common friends, but in the background, the administration was panicking because they didn't know what the legal justification was for not giving him his diploma after they let him don his regalia and walk the stage. That was a big thing. And I don't know how. I mean, obviously it worked out where I don't think they ever actually gave him the title nor the diploma.
He didn't technically matriculate. No.
Yeah. But that was a big controversy, man.
They could have gotten him because of, in reality, even though I hate the word ethics, it should have been morals, where he violated the moral clause of it prior to anything. But anyway, doesn't much matter.
I'm pretty sure he's still there.
I can simply say that I have never bestowed upon anyone their doctorate that was a convicted or accused felon.
I was never part of that either, man. So,
but to my knowledge, I know who was.
And it wasn't me.
I will never let two of those particular people ever live that down.
Oh, you shouldn't. I mean, they're peddling in murder.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been a RICO.
I wonder if she listens at all.
No.
Probably not. She should.
Yeah. I mean, I bring it up to try and help promote it because it is two former students. I mean, you know what I mean? It might be kind of like interesting to be like, hey, look at what some of our people do.
Yeah.
Nope. Hey, Capital Tech, if you ever want free advertisement.
Hey, it's not easy to graduate from there, I can tell you that much.
That's true, man. You'd be surprised. And I've started looking at the numbers for some research.
Yeah. Not easy to graduate from there.
No, and I mean, the program's not, and it's interesting, man, because it's the exact opposite perception some people have. I might agree that there are still, depending on which doctorate you're talking about, because they're not all created equally. There are still some issues here and there, and I don't know necessarily if they're ever going to go away completely, but it's certainly much improved from when you and I went through it. I can promise you that. And even with how paint by numbers the approach seems, it's still not easy. There's tons of people that can pass a course. There's not very many people that can sit down and write 150 pages. There's just not.
Yeah, I would say anyone can pass any of the courses.
Yeah.
But I mean, I tell everyone all the time. I mean, I can still see a major difference between my chapter 1 and my chapter 5.
Yeah. For sure. Well, and have you ever gone back to compare something you've written like recently to?
Oh yeah, yeah. Often. I mean, I thought, because all of my stuff in undergrad, master's programs, no one ever really they all. I mean, I got A's on all my papers until then we get to the the doctorate program, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never not gotten an A. What the hell is wrong? I had to work at it. I mean, I realized it at that point, and I just worked at it.
Well, and I think this goes back to like the performance, right? If you're attuned to what's going on, the environment itself is almost your performance review, and the way that you interact with it, and the way the environment responds to your interaction.
Sure.
And also, if you are that attuned to be observant like that, or you are observant, I guess is another way to say it, you should realize where you suck, and that's fine. In fact, that's a desirable thing. Particularly when you want to make progress in a certain area that you already haven't made progress in. You should suck at it when you start. That's natural. And in my observation, the people that realize that sooner tend to be the people that are ultimately the most successful.
Sure.
And I'm specifically talking about the dissertation, but I think that applies most generally.
I would agree with that. I mean, if you want to get better, you got to work at it. No one's going to give you any of this stuff. Not even close.
No matter how many emails you send me begging, I'm not doing it. I still get them, man. I got one last night.
Begging you to do what? I'm curious about this.
Make some grading adjustments.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't either. And I don't. I just delete it. I don't even acknowledge that I ever received it outside of. Oh, there you go, man. I don't really acknowledge it outside of conversations like this. Yeah.
Hold on. I got to get some work done here. Hold
on. It's just so far outside of my frame of reference for what's tolerable. I can't even respond to it with like a nasty email. Not that I necessarily would, but
I ignore it.
Yep.
I have zero tolerance for any of those things.
No, it's nonsense, and I'm not even going to engage it.
When students wind up sending me an email saying, "Oh, I've got all these things happening. Can I have an extension?" No, I don't care. Why'd you wait till the last minute?
Oh, it just in the scope of things, it's not that big of a deal anyway. Why? I don't.
I wouldn't even ask. It would just literally be like, just do the work and then leave it up to the teacher. If they choose not to grade, then whatever.
Yeah,
but more than likely, if you just send it in, regardless of when it is, they'll still grade it, and they'll be like, "Okay, hey, you were late," and they'll take off whatever points. Did you learn something from it or not? And if you didn't, then doesn't matter that you did it. If you learned something from it, then that's the most important thing. Who cares what your grade was?
Well, it's kind of odd, man. I actually think a lot about this, especially like the late assignment thing. Because systematically, if it's late, I don't give any points out. And not anymore, man. I learned the hard way. When I was at Cal Poly, I had a big incident. So I just blanket. If it's late, it's 0. I mean, I'm not even going to look at it. Don't even bother. And there's still people that try to argue and stuff like that, man. Here's what I've tried to figure out. And I'm still not convinced that even of my own argument, by the way, but I'll just lay this out here before we wrap up. What's wrong with learning as a young adult how to make incentive-based adult decisions? So even if your incentive at that time for a given assignment was to go watch TV, to relax, and you didn't do your assignment, so you don't turn it in, or you turn it in, you don't get any points anyway. So I don't know what the difference is. What's wrong with us that we don't say that that's okay? Not that we should say it's okay in giving people the points, because why should you get the points? You didn't do it, or you didn't do it within the agreed upon conditions. But let's recognize that you made a decision and talk about that. It's not about the points. It's not about the grade. It's about, why did you make the decision you made? And if you don't like the outcome, how can we make sure that you understand that the problem wasn't my grading rubric or my policy on late assignments? It was your failure to make the correct adult decision based on the outcome that you actually wanted.
Because we're in the world of, but so-and-so was able to do this. They haven't had to earn it. They don't have to earn it. Everything's given to them. Doesn't matter what it is. This is the part that I don't know. And I can't say that I will ever understand, because I'm not a minority. But I can't believe that someone of substance would ever want something given to them because they are a minority. If they were accepted, they would want it because they earned it. And I think too many times in our society, whether it's because you're a millennial or you're getting ready to graduate, which is now no longer a millennial. I don't even know what they're called at this particular point. So why would you want something given to you? I mean, where's the satisfaction in that? I mean, if we're all out there playing video games, you're not given levels. You had to earn those levels.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago. I think we can all agree that it's for the betterment of our species and our civilization that we figure out how to ensure that we have equal opportunity rather than equal outcome. Equal outcome doesn't help anybody, especially long term. Even I would argue in short term it doesn't, but certainly in long term, getting something when you didn't earn it is not going to do anything.
Zero
at all. Positive. In fact, it has a negative effect long term.
Yep.
Whereas making sure that there's equal opportunity, I think, is in our best interest, both short and long term. So everybody should get an equal shot. But why there's this perception that you should have a desirable outcome without having to actually put any effort into it is beyond me.
I don't know.
Well, and I'll be honest, in my own bias, part of why I don't understand it is because I tend not to associate with those people anyway, in any way, shape, or form.
Right. I mean, it's the same. I don't want to. I mean, this just comes back down to whatever it's called, the homogenetic effect, where we only want to be around people that essentially look like us, talk like us, think like us.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around people who don't want to earn their stuff either. I just don't associate with them. I don't have time. I mean, it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson, when he was asked a question, what do you say to these flat earthers? Nothing. There's nothing I can say to them. It's a failure in the school system for them to believe this to begin with. And there's nothing that I can say. So I'm not going to waste my energy on things and people that don't matter.
Yeah. It's the same thing with arguing religion on Facebook. I mean, what are you doing? It's less productive than masturbation if you look at masturbation as a replication for sexual reproduction. Put it in that context, right? It's less than that.
Yeah.
Right. Because I
don't have Facebook.
Yeah. Well, because what's the point? I mean, in fact, what the point is that it's here's the masturbation pun, is it's intellectual masturbation. It's an ego stroke. The only reason you argue with anybody about things like that is because of your own ego, not that you really care about them as a human being. You just want to be right. When what I would submit is that rather than engaging in that nonsense, you probably should have something better to do and go work on that.
Yep. And that's what I do. I just don't have the time. I'm not going to, oh, you want to say something that's just completely stupid like that? Well, okay. I'm just not going to, I don't have the time to deal. I'm not going to waste my time.
No, because those people are energy vampires, whether it's flat earth or I deserve an A, so just give it to me or whatever. To me, it's all, generally speaking, the same pathology. And I just don't want to be around that drama, because here's the thing, it doesn't go away. It only gets worse once you entertain it. You know what I mean? It's like petting a kitten. That kitten's never going to go away now. Now you're stuck. So it's cute, and I know you want to pet it.
I don't like cats, so I'm never going to pet the kitten.
Yeah, right. I know. Me either. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But, higher education is a really serious issue.
True. Also true. Anyway. Well, I think we've about nailed it for this week's episode.
Yeah, man. I hope I'm just refreshing real quick to see if I got any more tweets. Not that I get a lot of them. No, I don't see anything. We're good.
All right. Well, until next week.
Yeah, man. Sunday again, yeah. I'll be in Maryland, so we'll work
on
out
the same coast.
Yeah. Well, almost.
I'm pretty close to the Midwest. I'm like 15 minutes from Central Time Zone.
Yeah. We'll get it scheduled. We'll probably do it was always early morning not early morning, but morning for me, early afternoon. We'll do an afternoon one.
Yeah, I mean either Saturday or Sunday next week works for me.
Yeah, Sunday I think works. Well, Saturday doesn't work for me because I have the workshop.
Ah, got it. Cool.
So we'll do Sunday again.
All right. Sounds good.
That's episode 54 in the can. Later, everybody.
Peace.
Bye-bye.